Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Today we start with a new chapter, chapter number 6, the properties of seawater. Students, in the previous standard, we have seen the different characteristics of seawater. What are tides, what are ocean current. Let us see about seawater in more detail. In this chapter, we are going to study about three properties of seawater, namely temperature, salinity and density. Let's recall. Which is the largest water storage of the world? Oceans and seas are the largest water storage of the world. Among the ocean, Pacific is the biggest ocean. Pacific is the largest ocean. So your answer can be oceans are the largest water storage, and among the ocean, Pacific is the largest ocean. Next question, why is the seawater salty? Now the basic reason for seawater to be salty is the rivers coming and meeting the sea. Now as the rivers flow over the land, the salts and the minerals in the soil and the rocks get dissolved in the river water, and along with the river water they enter the sea water. This is the basic reason of seawater becoming salty. Seawater is also salty because of the volcanic eruption taking place in the sea. During the volcanic eruption, along with lava and ash, minerals and salts are also released into the seawater. Now when the living things in the sea and the river, the dead remains decompose, it releases the salts and minerals trapped in their body. So this all increases the proportion of salt in the seawater. In the previous classes, we have studied about tides, ocean currents. Now in this chapter, we will see about the properties of seawater. So we come to the first property, and that is the temperature. Now temperature is one of the major property of the seawater. The surface temperature of the seawater is not uniform everywhere. Now it depends upon many factors. The first and the most important factor is the latitude in which the sea lies. Now latitudinally speaking, the surface temperature of the seawater decreases from the equatorial area towards the polar regions. Now we know about the different zones of the world. The torrid zone, which is between 23.5 degree north to 23.5 degrees south. Perpendicular rays of the sun are received throughout the year, and perpendicular rays of the sun gives you a lot of heat. So because of this tremendous heat, the surface temperature of the seawater in the seas of the torrid zone is high, whereas in the polar region very slanting rays of the sun are received, and slanting rays are not that high, not that hot, so the temperature of the seawater, the surface temperature there is less. So on an average, the temperature in the equatorial area is around 25 degrees Celsius. It is 16 degrees in the mid latitude or in the temperate zone, and it is 2 degrees Celsius near the poles. So the major factor on which the temperature of the seawater depends is the latitude in which it lies. It also depends upon the cyclones. Other factors we are seeing, first is the cyclones. Now cyclones, there is a tremendous speed of the wind in the cyclone, and cyclones are almost every time accompanied by rainfall, so it reduces the temperature of the sea. The next is rainfall, sea waves, ocean currents. We are going to talk about ocean currents in detail. The salinity, pollution, conventional current, seasons, etc. Here in this map you can see different ocean currents there, the hot and the cold currents. Hot current are shown in the red lines and cold currents are shown with the blue lines. We know that the ocean currents have effect on the temperature of the seawater. Now the currents flowing from the equatorial area will be will be very hot. The temperature will be very high there, and when this hot current flows along the surface of the ocean water and it reaches the polar areas, it will increase the temperature of the polar areas, while the current originating in the polar areas will be cold current and when this cold current comes towards the equatorial area, it will be reducing the temperature of the sea water of the torrid zone or of the equatorial area. So where the region where the cold currents flow, the surface temperature of the ocean water decreases, and the region where the warm current flows, the temperature of the ocean water, it increases. Have a look at the graph which is on page number 56.1 figure. Here on the x-axis, that is on your horizontal line, temperature in degrees Celsius is shown. 0 degree, 5 degree, 10 degree, 15 degree, 20 degree. So x-axis shows the temperature, whereas the vertical line, okay, which is your y-axis, shows the depth. Depth here is measured in meters. So 000 meters means it is at the surface of the sea water, and 500, 1000, 1500, 2000, these are the different depths in meters on your y-axis. Now there are lines. Black dotted line shows the water of the torrid zone. Blue line shows the water of the mid-latitudinal or the temperate zone, and the pink line shows the sea water at the frigid zone or the high latitudes. Now come to that black dotted line of the torrid zone. It begins on the x-axis at almost 20 degrees, to be precise at 19 degrees Celsius. So the surface temperature of the sea water in the torrid zone is almost 19-20 degrees Celsius. As the depth increases, the temperature falls rapidly. At 500 meters, the temperature here is little bit more than 10 degrees. Fine. Thereafter, the black dotted line merges with the blue line. That means now the temperature of the sea water in the torrid zone and that of the frigid zone, the temperature will be showing the same temperature. The sea water will be showing the same temperature at this particular depth. Let us come to your mid-latitudinal blue line. The surface temperature at here is almost 14-15 degrees Celsius. And as the depth increases, the temperature falls. At 500 meters. The temperature is little less than 10. Thereafter, you will see that the temperature of the sea at the torrid zone and the sea in the temperate zone, the temperature remains the same. After a depth of almost 600-700 meters, the temperature of both the sea water remains the same. Fine. At 1000 degrees, the temperature of the sea water in torrid as well as in the temperate zone is 7.5 degrees. At 1000 meters depth, the temperature of the sea water is of torrid as well as the temperate zone is 7.5 degrees Celsius. The pink line shows the water in the high latitude, that is in the frigid zone, the polar zone. It is almost a straight vertical line, and the temperature shown there is 4 degrees. That means temperature of the sea water at the high latitude or in the frigid zone is at the surface is 4 degrees, and with the increase in the depth, the temperature does not fluctuate, it remains at 4 degrees only. At 500 meter, at 1000 meter, the temperature of the sea water is 4 degrees Celsius. And after a particular depth, the temperature of the sea water, whether the sea is belonging to the torrid zone, to the middle zone or to the high latitude, it will remain constant. At 2000 degree, you will see that the temperature of the sea in all the places, in all the zone is 4 degrees. So, while most of the sun rays radiate back from the surface of the sea, some of them penetrate to the certain depth. That means when sun rays falls on the surface of the sea, most of the sun rays radiate back to the atmosphere, but some sun rays, some heat, some intensity of the sun rays penetrate to a certain depth. As the depth increases, the intensity decreases. That means as we go inside the ocean, inside the sea, the heat, the hotness of the sun rays will become less. Temperature decreases up to 2000 meter depth. After 2000 meters, the temperature of the sea water is uniform everywhere. Whether the sea water is of torrid zone, the temperate zone or the frigid zone, after 2000 meter the temperature remains uniform, constant, and that is at 4 degrees Celsius. Temperature reduces only up to 4 degrees Celsius according to the depth. Therefore, the water at greater depth does not freezes. Although the water at the surface might freeze, the temperature of the surface might go below 4 degrees, but below, in a great depth, the water is still in liquid form. It is not frozen. See the different heat zones of the earth. The torrid zone between 23.5 degree north and 23.5 degrees south. The temperate zone between 23.5 degree to 66.5 in both the hemisphere, and the polar zone or the frigid zone beyond 66.5 to the poles. Now, the temperature of the sea water changes rapidly with depth at the equatorial area. In the equatorial area, your figure 6.1 shows the temperature was 20, and as the depth increases, there is a great fall in the temperature. From 20, it has reduced to 4 degrees. There is also difference in open and in the landlocked sea. There is a difference in the open sea and landlocked sea. The temperature of the open sea is comparatively less as that of the landlocked sea. A landlocked sea is a sea which is surrounded on all the sides by land. The salinity generally of the landlocked sea is high. As the sea is landlocked, there is no merging of other water bodies here. The salinity is generally higher, so the temperature of such landlocked sea will also be high. But there is an exception. The landlocked seas which are in the high latitudes, that means the landlocked sea which are away from the equator, there the temperature might be less. Although the sea is landlocked, the temperature might be less there, but generally overall the landlocked sea has high temperature. The temperature is higher because of high salinity. Now we come to the second property of the sea water, and that is the salinity. We have already seen why the taste of the sea water is salty. Taste of sea water is salty because of presence of salt, and we have seen why the sea water has become salty because of the rivers adding more salt, rivers carrying salts and minerals and joining the sea. Next question, what are the reasons for high salinity in the ocean? Now the salinity of the ocean is high because of high rate of evaporation and less supply of fresh water here. What is the use of salt in the ocean to us? Salt is used as food. Salt is used to make various chemicals and medicines. We know that if we have eaten something unwanted and if you want to evacuate your stomach, we are advised to drink salty water, which makes one vomit, and that unwanted thing comes out and a person feels better. So it is used in medicines. It is used to preserve things for a longer time. That is why pickles which are made for the entire year contains a lot of salt as a preservative. Salts are also used in factories, and we obtain salt from the salt pans. So these are the uses of the salt in the ocean. Also, a saline water has more buoyancy. That means salty water or the sea water has more buoyancy because of the presence of salt in it. As there is salt in the sea water, the density also is different than that of the fresh water, and buoyancy means the ability to float. So things easily float in sea water as compared to the fresh water. That is why water transport becomes easy. Transport by sea is easier than transport by rivers, because sea water has more buoyancy due to salinity. But the salinity is bearable only up to a particular limit. If the sea water is more saline, it destroys the life in the sea. points to remember. In the sea, where the rate of evaporation is high than the supply of fresh water, salinity is high. That means rate of evaporation is more, supply of fresh water is less. Now fresh water supply can be in the form of rainfall or in the form of rivers. So in the sea where rate of evaporation is high, so rate of evaporation is generally high in the torrid zone. So sea belonging to the torrid zone, where the rate of evaporation is high and where there is less supply of fresh water, salinity of such sea will always be high. In the sea where the supply of fresh water is more and rate of evaporation is less, the salinity will also be low. Means where more fresh water is being added to the sea and the rate of evaporation is low, there the salinity will also be low. And finally, where both supply of fresh water and evaporation is low, salinity will not be much affected. Thank you everyone.